Hi everybody, welcome to the Hard Truth Inside the Football Industry podcast with me, Philip Ideson, and Darragh MacAnthony, chairman and co-owner of Peterborough United. And episode 25 already, where did that come from?
Welcome back, motherfuckers. Yeah. I can't believe it. 25 is this is mental. This is mad. Am I allowed to say mental nowadays in 2020? Anyway,
you just did.
I just did, yeah. Apologies for anyone I might have offended. That reminds me, it was really when I did 5 Live last week. Did I do it after the podcast?
It was just before,
right?
I think.
And obviously I'd made those jokes and whatever else, and I'd said, I'd give my right arm to be in the Premier League, and I'd sell my wife.
Just as she was walking in.
Yeah, as she was walking in. And then obviously some guy messaged me straight afterwards, and he was very offended by my limb quote. And again, I'm thinking 2020, so you've always got to be careful what you say, right? You're always watching your P's and Q's. Anyway, this podcast does not do political correctness.
No.
So if you are along those lines of a politically correct person, and Phil's probably a little bit like that, but if you are that person, fucking turn off now.
I don't cringe that much.
No. You're coming out of your shell, in
Yeah.
fact. I'm seeing a new you. That's probably spending time with me. But the point I'm saying is, there is no apologies here. As the words of the great Conor McGregor once said, I apologise to absolutely nobody. And that's just who we are. So you want a bit of fun, you want some football, you want some business, you tune in. This is getting great traction. We're getting some good viewers. We're getting people trying to sponsor us all the time. And this is going to be another action-packed episode.
Here we go. We got a few things lined up. So let's start close to home for you and Posh. You had another successful weekend.
We did. And we were very, very good for 30 minutes. And then we were very, very bad for probably 15 minutes. But to be fair, we were playing Oxford. Forget about where they're on the table. They will be top 6 for me this season. Very good team, playoff final team 2 months ago. And yeah, we scored at the right times, 1-0 before half time. And then for 20 minutes in the second half, I was hiding behind my chair here in my office, fucking shitting a brick. And then we scored at like a perfect moment. So right now we're looking good defensively. We're not quite clicking on all cylinders offensively, the front three, but they will. And I think we're in 3rd, 4th gear. And then we got a big week. We got 2 away games at Wigan and Hull. So far it's 2 championship teams away coming up. We've played Sunderland away. We've played our biggest rivals, the Cobblers, away. Accrington Stanley away to start with. And we've played Fleetwood and Oxford as well, 2 playoff people 2 months ago. So you could say the fixture people weren't very kind to us, but go play everyone twice.
It's a tough start. And I mean, where you are, again, you said last week, don't really look at the
I have no idea where we are on the table.
But you got points on the board.
No, you're correct.
And that's the important thing.
Look, you know what? It's building blocks. We're getting stronger. It's not going to be perfect all the time. But if we want to be in a promotion race, we've got to be consistent. Yeah. So you always look for that couple of points per game. You win at home, you do well away. Look, I think we're miles away from being where we need to be. Yeah. But I think when we get our mojo properly in there offensively, where some people won't live with us.
Yeah,
and that's going to take time.
I mean, it's a positive sign that while you're a long way away from where you think you can be, you're still getting the points.
Winning games, really good at home. As we know, promotion seasons, if you're going to get promoted, you have to have a really, really good home form. And I think there's no other club in 2020 has been as good at home as Peterborough United. So positive, but forgetting about us and Oxford, your beloved Bradford, trash in Mansfield.
Yeah, we won 3-1. And,
incredible.
Ridiculously, the first away win in the league for over a year.
That's mad.
Which it really is.
It's mad.
I mean, I didn't know that stat myself until afterwards.
No, that's mad.
The hard truth is that Mansfield were dreadful.
Okay.
They were probably the worst team that I've seen in a long time, and that really surprised me because
me.
They come into the season as one of the favourites.
Rightly so, the Radfords. The Radfords are good people, worth a fortune. Caroline and John, and they want promotion. Yeah. So, and they've obviously brought in David Sharp, who's a pal of mine. He's now running the club. We got a good manager from Bristol Rovers. I'm really shocked. Was there anything positive about them?
No, I mean, there was a terrible goalkeeping error early doors. We got a second after only 15, 16 minutes, I think it was. So the game was already kind of done by that point. But I mean, before the game, I'd read that they hadn't won all season any competition.
Sure.
And that surprised me. And I thought, well, this will be their first chance. But they showed why they haven't won all season.
Typical negative Bradford fan. Come on.
That's what happens when you haven't won. When you haven't won
listen.
And you just lost to Harrogate.
Football's crazy like that. You know what I mean? It's like, when are we ever going to win again? Yeah. And but that's I saw Bolton lost again.
Bolton, yes, 2-1 injury time to Oldham.
Salford lost.
I think they drew.
And
maybe they lost.
I think they lost 1-0. And then our big rivals, Cambridge United, obviously are having the season of their lives so far, top of the table, 5-0. I mean, League Two is interesting, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't put your hat in it. Well, Cheltenham, for me, I've kind of like banked on them since the summer, getting promoted.
And I expect them to be up there for sure.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be surprising. Like I said to you, listen, don't write your team off. You know, it's fun. Weird times. Weird times.
Well, we go from the last time we recorded and me being depressed at losing to Harrogate to we have Walsall at home and Barrow. think it's Barrow.
Walsall
on
are
Saturday.
good. They're unbeaten this season. Good manager, Darragh.
So that's tomorrow as well. So
is that tomorrow? That's where's that? Your place?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a toughie. Yeah, I think they're 5-5, 5 draws, 5 wins. So, for the season, tough one.
We'll see. Not so good at Anfield. Oh. Well, Goodison, wasn't it?
You asked my missus. She got thrown out of my office on Saturday because we were winning, and she comes in and sits down. I'm always like, I'm so superstitious. She came in 2 minutes after she came in. Everton scored, and I was like, for fuck's sake, I can't. And then obviously, I was kicking that box there. I was running around the office, and we scored the winner. And then the VAR decision, load of bollocks. Obviously Pickford's tackle on Verge.
Yeah.
What did I say to you in one of our podcasts a few episodes ago?
Goalkeeper
Liverpool
goes and Van Dijk
if they
goes.
lost their goalie or they lost Van Dijk, they've got no chance of winning the league. Now I'm going to change that because this isn't a typical season. Because Manchester City are in disarray as well a little bit, getting stuffed obviously by Leicester and they're not as strong defensively. It's going to be a weird season. So whereas a month ago I'd be like, I don't think Liverpool can win without Van Dijk or the goalie. I'm actually thinking, if I were Klopp, I would be like, fuck clean sheets. We got enough in a team to win games 5-3.
Yeah.
5-3, 5-4. You saw that against Everton. They should have won the game. Everton had 2 shots on goal. Adrian being the great number 2 that he is as usual. 2 shots, 2 goals. Big mistake Liverpool made on deadline day was not buying a backup goalkeeper. They should have gone out and got Butland. They should have gone out and got somebody. Even the Ben Foster was like mooted. He would have been a phenomenal backup because Alisson obviously has got injury issues. So that concerns me. But now they're at the stage with big Verge out, and I'm gutted for him because he's done his ACL before, I believe. He's done for the season. So they are not strong enough defensively with backups and whatever else to be that team to win 19 games with 15 clean sheets. They've got to go hell for leather. This is going to be wide open. Villa are up there. Everton are up there. There's so many teams. Man City aren't quite Man City. Now, if Man City click, forget it. It's over. It's done. So for me, Liverpool have got to be. They've just got to let take it off the hook. Just go for it, like they did a few years ago before they became really good defensively. You know what I mean? Now it might not work, but you know what? With the experience of being champions, if they're still there in March or April and they're within 3-4 points, don't write them off. But absolutely gutted as a Liverpool fan because that Merseyside derby was an absolute theft.
So what do you make of the challenge then from Jordan?
Disgusting,
Pickford?
Horrible challenge. But the time to punish him was during the game when he should have been red carded. Shocking decision. I don't know what he was trying to do, Pickford. He looks like a nice guy. I'm sure he feels bad about it, but there's no place on a football field for a goalkeeper to do that with his legs.
Yeah,
what he was trying to do.
We had him on loan for a year, 3 or 4 years ago, and I mean that certainly seems out of his character. But it was a pretty
So I'm not going to have I'm sure the kid's feeling bad enough, and I quite like him. You know what I mean? But like the challenge, like looking back, and it was atrocious. What the VAR and the referee are fucking doing, not red carding him for that, is outrageous. I don't know what was going on.
Do you think that we've made the rules so complicated that, if it's offside, does everything after offside really count?
But they should know that.
Yeah.
They should know that, Phil. It's like how many you've seen people get sent off for a full-time whistle when the game's over. You've seen, if there's an offside and I go out and I headbutt you in the field, I'm going to get red carded. Yeah, so they know that. I mean, I'm sorry, but you don't need VAR to tell a referee that it's within the rules of the game. He can red card the goalkeeper. What are we in 1991 here? So, and then the VAR, I still can't get my head around how that's offside when I look at it back. So that was atrocious from an official's point of view. But you know what? Fair play to Aston Villa. They won again yesterday.
Yeah, 4 from 4.
Really, really strong. It's a funny league. I watched the Arsenal Man City game. It was crap. Man United fans are all excited again because they beat Newcastle until the next defeat, till they want their manager out. So I don't know. It's a wide open Premier League. I'm really looking forward to watching Leeds today because they are my favourite team to watch. I even prefer watching them more than Liverpool at the moment because they are just a joy. I watched the second season on Netflix of their show. Have you seen that show
No,
yet?
I haven't seen it.
It was a condensed one this time. The last was like 7 or 8 episodes, but this season they did obviously pre-COVID, post-COVID.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I'm actually becoming a bit of a closet Leeds fan. Really impressed with that club. And I tell you what, the football is just a joy to behold. I mean, wow.
Who do they play today?
I want to say it is. I was just looking here before. I want to say they play Wolves. Yeah, they got Wolves at home. You got West Brom Burnley first, which would be a snooze fest, and then you got Leeds Wolves at 8 o'clock, or well, English time, 3 o'clock here. So I will be watching that game later. Because that will be. I will say that's going to be 3-2 or 4-3 to someone. There you go.
Right, we'll see.
Hard truth prediction.
So 0-0.
And I don't make predictions.
It's got 0-0 written all over it. Then.
There's no way it's 0-0, Philip. Not a chance. If that ends up 0-0, you got to vote for Donald Trump.
So I'll be praying for some goals then. You're talking about goals. Then we had Spurs West Ham, and
I'll tell you the truth. There, I've watched it for 75 minutes till they brought Bale on. It's 3-0. Then I've turned over to the Patriots game, which is on the NFL. It was 1 o'clock our time, and I've checked Twitter afterwards, and it's 3-3, and I can't fucking believe what I'm reading. I don't know but I've said I still think Spurs are serious contenders. I do. Mourinho will get that right.
I can't really explain it, but there's something about the way they're hitting the ball when it's up front. I've not seen so much power behind what Harry Kane and what Son. I mean, when they get that ball,
wow, they're good. Yeah. They are the best counter-attacking team in there. You know, if you look at the goals and how quick they just counter-attack, and Kane's playing a lot deeper. So he's really playing a lot more of an Eriksen role with Sonny playing in front. So yeah, I like Spurs. Spurs are good. I think Jose's he's gonna have a cup this season. He's definitely gonna be top 4. So I think he'll have the last laugh on all the pundits. But yeah, no, really, really good. And to be fair, the leagues at the moment, even like in the Championship, you know, it's like I don't know. There's lots of goals. There's a lot of entertainment. It's good time to be a football fan, right?
Well, your man Ivan Toney, top scorer in the Championship.
Yep, every Prem team out there who could have bought him and didn't buy him, you are fucking morons. You are morons. I'm telling you right now, Brentford will probably win the league. It's an extra mil for us. If they don't win the league, they'll definitely be selling Ivan for 30, 40 million. If they got Watkins at 28, I would expect Ivan to win the Golden Boot. I would expect him to be the best player in the Championship, and physically, he's ready for the Premier League now. I mean, those teams, like, hang your head in shame. In the Premier League, particularly the teams who went up, particularly the teams maybe in the bottom 10. He is made for the Premier League. I always said he would have been, even for Spurs, as backup. You know, that physical like element, but he's doing fantastic. Fair play, good for him.
Now, do you keep? Obviously, you've got all the sell-ons that come with him being successful. How closely do you continue to watch players when you sell them?
Always. You know, we've got a mil on them going up. I think we got a mil if they stay up. We've got like another mil on goals scored. You know, if they sold them for 40 million or 30 or 40 million, we'd have another 3 or 4 million. I mean, there is money, which is what I always do when we sell a player. So if he does really well, we're going to do really well. And hopefully for Brentford's sake, they will do really well because I really enjoyed doing business with the club. But I'm delighted to see it because, again, some people are having a pop saying, oh, he's not worth this, he's not worth that. Trust me, he will be the best player in the Championship and he's 24. So he's got the world at his feet. Don't be shocked. I'm going to say that because I put too much pressure on him, but in 2 years, he's like not in the England team because he's of that type of player. There ain't millions of them out there.
Now you say the right type of player. You said that he's kind of built for the Premier League.
Correct.
Is there a type of player who may even struggle in League One or struggle in the Championship, but that will actually excel at a higher level? Or do you really have to excel at all levels?
You've got like a couple of different types of strikers. I love pacey strikers. I like greyhounds, strikers you can get in behind, electric pace. You know what I mean? Like you are like non-stop at a back four and whatever. And we've got a couple of them, and they do very well. Where sometimes they can struggle is the physical aspect of it. So when you step up to the champ is like twice as physical as League One. Like your defenders are going to be 6'4".
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have, and I've never been a big target man fan, but you've got to have a physical presence. Like we got Clark Harris, he's the most physical striker in League One. And the balls stick to him, and it allows our smaller players, the Dembélés, the Schmotteks, to get amongst it. So our fans are probably having like sleepless nights that we have. Clark Harris hasn't scored loads of goals, but if you look at what he's doing in games, physically, he's an absolute beast. Ivan Toney is like that. But he's also got the goal side to him, and he's not slow. So I always said physically he could walk into, who's playing today? Burnley. I mean, West Brom all day long. Even Wolves, when you look at Wolves, they're number 9. you know, who's again, he's like a physical type striker, you know, not a target man per se, but like his movement's unbelievable. Yeah, I do. There's certain types of players can go up, and there's certain types of players who couldn't go up no matter how good they are. And you've seen it in the Championship over the years. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I describe that one.
Yeah, well, we had one, I mean, we've talked off mic about him, Naki Wells.
Yeah, no chance he would ever make it in the Prem. I said that for years.
Just didn't have the strength.
Great Championship striker. I fought with Bradford fans. We tried to buy him. People were saying he's Dwight Gale, he's better than Dwight Gale, and I was like, no chance. You know, I'd seen Wells a long time. We tried to buy him, and I always thought physically he's going to struggle. He's quick, but as he got older, he's probably not as quick. But he would be that striker, and if I'm wrong, I apologise. But he'd be that striker who would get promoted with Bristol City per se, and then after a few games they'll probably move on from him if he's, you know, not adjusted.
And that's kind of what happened with Huddersfield.
Of course. And Burnley bought him, didn't they? And whatever else.
Really do much with Burnley.
Yeah, and the other one that Burnley bought was the boy from Derby. Scored a lot of goals in the Championship. I can't remember. Was he Danish or Norwegian? He was like the best player in the Championship. He won Player of the Year. Anyway, again, I'm having a brain scramble moment, but the point is, some of them just aren't. Look, the Premier League's the best league in the world, so you really got to have something special to step up. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's no disrespect to Naki Wells. He's an amazing striker, but that's tough.
That's the difference.
And I want players from League One and Champ to do well in the Prem. I do. I want them to do well.
Well, it helps you from a selling perspective as well.
I want them to do well. Yeah. You look at some of the defenders who've stepped up, who've played for Oldham, who've played for my team, and they've gone and done really well for Burnley. And, you know, I want them to do well because it's good for the Football League. So anytime I talk here and someone thinks I'm belittling a player, I'm not. I want them to do well. But hard truth has to come in as well sometimes, and you've got to be honest with your opinion.
Now, we had I don't know what to call it, debacle of Project Big Picture.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about it last week, and ironically, we talked about it Monday, and then come Wednesday,
oh my God,
it's down the drain again.
I got fed up of hearing me, and then I was like, on Thursday, Friday, they wanted me on again. You know, 5 Live wanted me on TalkSport, and I was like, you know what, no, I've got a day job as well. And it was kind of like I was excited when the Prem came out and said they were giving 50 million to League One and League Two. And I was like, I'd said, oh, thank you, that's magnificent. My partners went on the EFL call on Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm getting messages from them going, yeah, it's not what you think it is. And I'm like, fuck me, can you guys just do this with no strings attached? Can you please do the right thing? Like, we're getting murdered here, you know? And I'm sorry to use that word, but the government's murdering us. Do you know what I mean? Now the Premier League are playing their part too. It's like, we're going to give you this, but you got to do this. We might give you that, but you got to do this. Now's not the time for the games. I said this when it all came out last week, and there's been hundreds of articles written about Project Big. You know, it's a distraction, and no one's talking about the real problem here. We are getting murdered. Yeah. I mean, we're going to see clubs go down and out of business, and it's like I'm now starting to believe there's been this thing saying, oh, the Tories don't want to help football; they're too snobby, and I never really believed that. And now I'm looking at it and going, well, you know, actually, they're not help. There's no help on the horizon, and we had I was 150 fans on Saturday watching the game 10 feet from the door out to the stadium in like a closed room on TV, but they weren't allowed to step outside. And Phil, I'm actually speechless. First time you hear me speechless. I don't know what to say to you. Does the government have an issue? Do people running the government like with the fans, with football? Is there a hatred for football?
Mean, it's madness, isn't it? That you can get everyone in a closed room and have the football going on 10 feet away, and you got to get the blinds down so you can't see the field.
Do you know, I'd been told we were going to try and do a pilot program, and no one at the club actually told me it was happening on Saturday. So when I saw the pictures, I was like delighted, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And then you're just like, this is so contradictory. It doesn't, is that the right word? It doesn't make any sense what's going on here. And then, you know, Oliver Dowden, you know, look, I know Boris and everyone's losing their fucking shit over COVID and their 3-tier system and fucking 6 rule, which
nobody ever knows.
I hope everyone's ignoring all that bullshit, because you're at that point. Like, I got told today, my auntie in Ireland, she had to be brought to the doctor by her daughter, my cousin, and they got stopped by the police to ask them are they within their 5-mile radius. And this is like Ireland, and I'm like, fuck you lot. Yeah. Like, how dare you do this to people? How dare you do this to people? Same with the UK. How dare you do this to the people? And you're destroying people's lives here. I understand all the people who've died of this virus, but Phil, we are now destroying. Like, there was a journalist yesterday I got sent in a tweet, and he was going on about how good the New Zealand Prime Minister is because they've only had 25 deaths in 6 months. And I was just like, I hope that journalist, like, if there's another lockdown, I hope he's not allowed to do his job. And I want to see if his tune changes. I've been saying this from day one. And I'm sorry to go off on a COVID rant, but I'm just like, excuse me, I'm so fed up now of what this is doing to people. If you saw the stuff I get, the emails from people, like I had one from someone in New Zealand who like basically like living on £200 a week, and their career, their life, everything is just in the fucking toilet. And now we're like football fans. The Premier League don't help us out. Every time Karen Brady writes another stupid fucking article in the Sun, it's so self-serving. Where if you read her article the other day again, like she had a pop at me years ago, and I've always tried to be polite, but by God, I mean, like, they do forget their roots. They were in the Football League for years. None of these people want to help us. They just don't want to help us.
Well, they just want to pull the ladder up.
Yeah, they don't want to help us. They talk about a begging bowl, and maybe it's right you don't have the begging bowl out. Well, fuck you.
Oh, we're going to make you feel as bad as we possibly can.
And then they excite us, and I think, they're doing the right thing, and they're making this money available, but it's not really available. It's all conditioned. And it's like, you know what? Well, that's great from all your perspective. It's great, the government, and everyone's just ignoring it. Nothing's happening. And you got the arts getting $1.5 billion. They're murdering our industry. And I know that's a horrible word to use, but there's no other word I can use, because right now, today, again, bar more articles written about it and more backstories about Rick Parry and more stories about blaming Greg Clark and whatever else and other people out with their horns talking about, this is wrong and this shouldn't be this way. But again, there's no solutions. There's no today. And I've been saying, I'm getting bored saying it. Yeah. And we're not going to talk about it in future podcast episodes unless there's something relevant to talk about, because project, whatever it's, what was it called? Big Picture can go fuck itself, because that's not on the horizon anytime soon. Premier League helping us out, same thing. Government helping us out. No one's doing anything for us.
No, we're now another 10 days
which I said, on from distraction.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're a football fan, one of my fans like messaged me today saying, they went to a non-league game on Saturday. There were 700 people there. And I'm just like, this is, I can't believe this. I never thought this would happen. I didn't think the UK government would act this way. Everyone's lost their fucking minds. And they've lost their minds with no solutions. And they've lost their minds without giving us any help. And nobody seems to want to give us help. And there doesn't seem to be a burning desire in the government to give us help or do anything. They want to shut us down. They want to keep our fans away from watching games. My brother-in-law yesterday went to Tampa with my nephew, watched Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. He said it was great. It was 14,000 people there. They were on their own in the corner, masks on, watching it. It's normal. Yeah. I'm watching games on TV. There are fans. And I'm watching our industry in the UK get fucking obliterated by an absolute draconian government who there is no... It's not like they've even turned around and said, look, guys, in 4 weeks' time, you're back. And we want to get it down. We want to do our best. But in 4 weeks... No. That fucking idiot's out saying 6 months.
Yeah, it's forever now.
It's forever.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, correct. And it's just like, you know what? I'm sick to my stomach of the whole thing. People are like, Jesus, what's it like in Florida? I'm like, perfectly normal.
Well, meantime, we've got TPG Capital, so a US investment firm for folks that aren't familiar with them, private equity, supposedly having a bid turned down to invest in the EFL.
I didn't get sent the deal.
Yeah, it seems like it was all done. It was even rejected before it was even put to the clubs.
Yeah.
And this is like £375 million in return for 20% stake, allegedly.
I understand why we're not selling a stake. I understand borrowing money with a return. So if a pension fund, and pension funds do this all the time, if a pension fund sitting on $1 billion cash or 200 million in cash, they can go to the Football League and go, look, we're looking for a solid 6% return. We're going to leverage against your TV deal so the pension fund ain't going to lose their money. And we're going to get a nice 6% return. And everyone in the Football League, Peterborough United borrow $1 million, and we've got to pay 60 grand a year back in interest. And then eventually we've got to start repaying it down, and everyone's really happy. So that can be done. I don't understand the problem. There's a million pension funds out there who look at, when you invest money, you've got middle, low, high risk, whatever else, where you might try and get 10, 15%. You got that middle risk of like 7, 8%. And then you got pretty much the guaranteed return on your money where you get between 3 and 6%, whether you buy government bonds or whether you invest in a scheme like this. So again, I didn't hear about this capital thing. I know some of the companies that are trying to offer these deals, but the EFL haven't really reported it back to us.
What do you make of the idea of a private equity firm even owning a stake?
No, can't happen. I think it's dangerous.
Yeah.
I think it's dangerous. We don't need it. We all need money. We're all desperate. But we don't need somebody owning a slice of us when we don't know the full detail on it.
No, I mean, when I did the math, it looks like at that rate, you're valuing the EFL at basically £2 billion.
Sure.
So we've got collateral. Why can't the EFL just loan the money?
They can. They can loan it. I've just told you how they can loan it.
Yeah.
They've got TV deals in place. They can loan it. I've been saying it for months. They can loan the money. And I think obviously big project was being worked on, and that was a distraction. And again, what are we now? October the 19th. I keep saying this, December, January, watch the red lights go. Watch the red lights flash. People are going to be in serious shit. And the worst part is you can't have fans back. You're now going to have people making runs for like refunds and season ticket refunds, and that's just like fucking expensive. So trouble is ahead. There may be trouble ahead. It's coming. It's here.
So it's something that we missed last week.
Sure.
Was the Premier League charging £15 a game for pay-per-view?
Yeah.
From where we pay £10 a game in the
Sure.
EFL with iFollow, or you live overseas, you can get these an international season ticket.
Yep.
Now you can get them. It doesn't seem that bad, but that's my own personal perspective. I mean, what do you make of that?
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Look, we all have to do it because obviously we in the Football League, Peterborough United get £1.5 million a year.
Yeah.
So we have to do whatever to make money. If Peterborough United was getting 200 million a year, I'm not sure I'd want to be charging fans 15 quid to watch a game. Not during COVID. So I understand why they were trying to do it. I get the idea behind it, and it's probably a pilot program. Simon Jordan's mentioned something I've mentioned before as well, where there will be a Netflix of football eventually. Yep. And I actually mentioned this at one of our owners' meetings about 18 months ago. Like, have we investigated the idea that when the next TV deal is winding down, if we took it all in-house at the EFL, if we hired our own TV studios, our own presenters, our own people, and basically sold for £10 a month or 20 quid a month, the package for all games, for everything.
You can watch everything.
Right. How much would it cost to do it all? And B, have we done like market research with all the fan base that would you sign up for a £15 a month unlimited amount of EFL games, EFL shows, EFL highlights? Right. How would that money work? Like, how many would we need to sell subscription-wise to get the current deal? So the current deal's worth 500 million over 5 years. So that's 100 million a year or whatever. It's not even 100 million. I don't know the exact numbers. But let's say the current deal's worth 100 million a year.
Yeah.
So how many subscribers would you need to get to 100 million? Do you know what I mean? If you're charging a tenner, you're going to need 10 million subscribers. If you're charging 20 quid, you're going to need 5 million. So could you sell a package like that to 5 million football fans? I think you could. Yeah. So when does the Netflix happen for the Premier League and the EFL? And there are things in the future that I think will happen. The streaming, because that's just the way of the world.
Yeah, and we have to... The EFL needs to do that collectively.
Correct.
Because otherwise you're going to get the clubs and the bigger clubs like your Sunderlands or your Leeds when you're in the LFL or whatever.
It needs to be collective. It needs to be collective.
They've got the fan base.
It needs to be collective where you take it all in. This is the money we're doing, that we're selling the subscriptions for. This is what and the beautiful thing is it can keep growing. It's not like 1 year we get told you're getting $1.5 million this year. Oh, actually, great news. You're now getting an extra 100 grand because there was an extra 10,000 new subscribers. Yeah. So it keeps growing. But you're right, it needs to be collective. Everyone needs to buy into it. TV companies no longer will rule us. We will run it ourselves. We'll have our own TV studios. We'll have our own crew, our own matches, our own highlight packages, shows. We could design something that's kick-ass, and everyone could download it, an app on their phone, an app on TV, and watch you can watch Bradford, you can watch Peterborough, you can watch Derby, whoever you want. Do you know what I mean? And
as a Bradford fan, I mean, maybe I'm not the norm in terms of how much I would enjoy watching football, but if Bradford aren't playing,
you'll watch someone else.
Another game.
I'll let you in a secret. I've paid iFollow to watch other teams.
Yeah.
Because of my scouts, I watch games all the time. So I have given other clubs money and I've paid. But I just think, and look, it will still come down to the champ will still get a large portion of the revenue. League One, League Two will be different. But I really think, and I asked, have we done the study? It would probably cost 100 grand to study this out and market. But have we even started doing that yet? And again, I think I'm asking questions here that the EFL probably don't want me to ask.
Yeah, it's like, in the States we have...
I pay Peacock.
Yeah. And
NFL Sunday ticket. I pay $80 a month, DirecTV, the NFL ticket where I can watch every game, Patriots games, whatever. You're absolutely right. It is over here. It's here already.
All the clubs have their own stations, so yes, there's a broadcast deal nationally, but then Detroit Tigers, for example, or the Yankees, or the Dodgers or whoever have their own stations essentially.
I get that.
And they get the revenue based on how many people are watching.
Listen, it's there to be done. Right now we're at the beck and call of TV companies. And, if you can control your own product, which is the perfect position to be in.
Yep.
And right now we can't, but we got one of the best products the UK has to offer. The government doesn't think so, but we all think so, and football is an institution. So the Premier League are definitely going to do this. Right now they got like 9 billion worth of deals, but I dare say they're doing the numbers on the worldwide audience for the Premier League. If they were all paying Netflix-type subscription fees, what kind of revenue could they bring in? And still sell foreign packages. Of course they are. Yeah. So, and that's the laugh, like with all these clubs like having a go at us and Brady writing her Sun article and whatever else. The money will just get bigger and bigger and bigger for the Premier League. COVID will end. It will pass, people, for those of you who don't think it will. And normality will resume. It might not be in a month, but it will resume. And, Premier League clubs will the rich will keep getting richer. So what we're asking for, and I keep saying, like, when your woman Brady was saying and everything, people shouldn't have the begging bowl out and whatever else. I was like, yeah, but we're not asking not to repay it. We're just asking for access to help. It's not that big a deal for the Premier League to give 250 million of a future TV deal. It's not affecting them right now. I keep saying this over and over, and it's not been drilled enough by journalists to write articles. It's really, and I know it sounds like a massive amount of money, but it really ain't in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and instead they want to offer 50 million with all the same contingencies.
Well, it was really
so that everybody buys it.
It was 30 or 20, and then it was like 20
in grants, 30 in loans.
Correct.
Just for League One and League Two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they don't want to give the Championship any money because half the Championship's in competition with half.
And
the
that was wrong.
League.
Because we're all meant to be in it together, and that was wrong. I just presumed that the champ would get a deal as well. And I agreed with not voting for it, because if they're not going to have a deal for it, I thought they were ironing out a deal for the champ, and they'd started with us, look, we're going to give you this to start with, because the champ get a lot more money. But the reality was there was no deal for the champ. And we can't do that to our brothers and sisters in the Football League. No way.
And this idea that seemed to be mooted, all those Championship owners, they're richer than the Premier League.
She wrote down her article again, and that really wound me up about there's more wealth in there, whatever. Can't look at it like that. It's a collective, the Football League. It doesn't matter. But I have said that it would be great if one of the billionaires of those clubs popped up to 250 million. Mm-hmm. It would be a drop in the ocean. It would be, for humane reasons and everything else to do with football, if one of those billionaires out there stepped in and rescued football, it would be unbelievable. It would be inspirational. It would be incredible.
The name would be on every stadium.
Yeah, it'd be unbelievable. If Abramovich tomorrow wrote a check for 300 million and bailed out. Do you know the weird thing is? They probably wouldn't allow him to.
No, because he's not allowed to have
they probably
influence.
They would. That's the fucking mad thing. We did a deal, I told you last week, with a player, George Boyd, to pay him off over time and to help with our wage bill this year. So he gets paid over like 3 windows. The Football League wouldn't let us do the 3rd window. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to get a big wage off our wage bill. We're in a time where we're in trouble, every football club in the country. And the Football League made it slightly difficult for us to do the final payment. And I'm like, you out of your fucking mind.
That was already agreed between you and player.
Yes, the player had signed a document, and the Football League made us amend the document. And I'm like, can you look at yourselves in the mirror and see what you're doing here? Why are you making things difficult? Mm-hmm. Like, get to fuck.
Now, you did that with George Boyd to become a free agent, which because is a nice segue into the last question that I had, which is actually about free agents. Sure. And we've talked before about those that don't get clubs, what's in store. And the context for this is with Bradford, Stuart McCall, our manager, said that we don't actually intend to sign anyone because he questions both the fitness and the desire of anyone who hasn't signed a contract until now, for letting it run this long. And I just wondered if that's a widely shared view within football.
He's probably been a bit harsh there, because I'd say there's also a lot of players who didn't get picked up because of financial reasons. Yeah. So to tar them with that brush, maybe, that maybe they were waiting for bigger money or whatever else. So that's probably a bit, but that's Stuart being Stuart. So, he's got his opinion. There's definitely deals out there. We've left a little bit in our salary cap that if we had to, if an issue happened, we've already lost a young striker who's had an operation. So if anything happened, we might have to go and get a free agent in for a few months. Yeah. So we've been sensible there. It wouldn't stop me. I get the fitness thing. It's going to take like 8 weeks to get someone, 6 weeks to get someone up to the fitness levels. But I read a list yesterday. There's some bloody good players still out there who haven't been signed. So you will probably see a few of them get signed in the weeks to come. And God bless them as well. They're unemployed now. Yeah. These people are unemployed. Now, if someone purposely had turned down multiple offers and now is going to have to take 50% less, I would question their sanity.
Yeah, we've, not naming names, but, we've heard of players that just don't want to take a pay cut. They want to stay in a higher division.
Name names, Phil. Grow some balls.
All right. So the one that we've been linked with was Jody Hawula.
Yeah, good player. Ex-Huddersfield.
Yeah, ex-Huddersfield. We had him on
never quite happened for him.
He did all right for us. He went to Coventry and helped them get up. And somebody who we've been looking at, but word on the street wants too much money. He wants to stay in, doesn't want to drop down to League Two. And I'm sure there's lots of other players like that who would be fantastic.
Where is he now?
Nowhere.
Okay. How old is he?
27,
28?
No, it's probably 24, 25.
Well, look, he's a good player. Never quite happened for him, but he's a good player and he's got potential. Maybe he's taking bad advice from an agent. Did he do really well for you when he was with you?
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was with us in League One.
Okay.
And he was one of those players that, at the time, you're thinking, well, we're going to go for the championship. Is he going to help us in the championship? Probably
I remember
not.
he was known as a good signing when we got him.
He got 12, 13 goals, which was fine. So, think about that in League Two. He'd be just what we need because we need the pace. We need someone to, what you were saying earlier about the kind of strikers you like.
Yep.
That we're desperately missing that.
But he's turned you down.
I think he turned us down maybe a couple of months ago. Whether we went back, I don't know.
Would you have him?
Yeah, I'd have him. It's just the kind of player we need.
I can't step in it. I can't walk in the shoes of another man.
Yeah.
I can give my own opinion. So I can't criticise, particularly the industry I love.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for me to go, well, he's a greedy bastard.
Who knows what?
Who knows the circumstances? Look, maybe he backs himself. Maybe he'll back himself where he'll come in and do a month-to-month deal with someone till January. So say he goes to Bradford and he scores 6 goals in 6 games, then in January he can write his ticket.
Yeah.
So maybe he's backing himself like that. Some people will. I saw another one was Jackson Irvine, who did really, really well for Burton a few years ago, went to Hull, and he went there for like 2 million, I want to say. Now he's out of contract, and he's not with a club. And he's like a Lampard-type midfielder. And again, maybe he's waiting and he's backing himself. So, we're in weird times at the moment. We've got salary caps. We've got a lack of money. The wages aren't there anymore for players. It's just strange times. So I feel sympathetic towards players who are unemployed because there's so many. But you know what? They're actually getting to feel now what normal people are feeling like because there are so many people outside of football who are in the same position, who are unemployed, who don't have job prospects at the moment, because of COVID.
Now, when next summer comes around and a player hasn't actually got himself set up and missed a year of football.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That worries me. That would worry me if someone like for a year hadn't been. Now, it could go both ways. It could be someone who's like absolutely like re-energized and like ready to rock and roll. Or it could go the way in, a year's a long time out of football. So it'd be interesting if some journalist out there is listening for them to go out and collect all the names of players and actually do an article with every player. It might even help. I don't know if the PFA have done it. They should have for their members.
Yeah.
Have they put something on their website? I just saw Sky did like 5 of the best players available at the moment. Do you know what I mean? They hadn't really done a bigger list. But yeah, there's going to be... Look, someone's going to be a bargain. Someone's going to end up with it, coming out of nowhere and doing really well. Probably maybe some of the people we've spoken about.
Yep.
But it's got to be worrying times for some footballers. Really worrying times.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take a break and
Cool.
then we're going to come back in a couple of moments with some listener questions.
Excelente.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the pod. We're kind of laughing here to ourselves that we just took a short break, which I think was more like another 50-minute political debate. But we have some football questions.
God.
So we're going to go into the football questions. And I'm going to start with Tom Clark. And Tom asks, what's your view on releasing players for international breaks? Does that give an increased kind of exposure, value, experience to the players? Does that outweigh the risk of injuries and disruption?
It's like an oxymoron. It's a difficult one because at the moment I hate it when, the rule's 3, I think, isn't it? So if you can get a game off, okay, fine. But we lost like our best midfielder. Luckily we still won without him. But like if we lost him for games against Ipswich and, top of the table clashes, fucking hell. I mean, that could determine and change our season.
Yeah.
That's promotion. So it's really, really difficult because the champ and the Prem get to have the games off. Peterborough United losing a player like that. Christ, I mean, can you imagine that, in any given year, Ivan Toney gets called up by someone, what I mean? It's like you're losing the best player in the league. So at the moment with the COVID, I don't like it either. I don't know if international should be on. I don't understand the Nations Cup.
Everyone's okay to travel.
I've got no idea how that cup works.
Yeah.
I know Republic of Ireland are shit. I know that. I know we're not going to the Euros anytime soon. That really disappoints me because we look awful the last 4 games. England obviously did well and then did crap.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it. So at the moment with COVID, with everyone freaking out about testing and players coming back, I actually don't think there should have been any internationals till February. So, and for us, we had to have a player who was away, Jack Taylor, and he had to test on Thursday. And we were all waiting like, oh, fucking here we go. If he comes back positive, and is he going to, other players, is he going to affect players, and da-da-da-da-da. So, yeah, I'm kind of in that camp. Can we do without it for a few months? Is there any more international windows before now on Christmas?
What are we? We're beginning middle of October. Sometimes there's usually one in November, I think. I'm not sure if there is or not, because I haven't looked at the fixtures.
A bit like your pal Biden, pull a lid on it. Put it to bed for till February.
No, I think you've missed a trick here. So you should be looking at a couple of youngsters from Gibraltar to come and bring in, and then all of a sudden you've got 3 internationals.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I didn't even think of that, actually.
There you go.
If we had space, actually, if they're under 21, they have to be in a salary cap. So, but you know what? Look, I prefer us to play games. I don't want us to miss games. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, if we'd been given the choice like last week, I'm glad we played. We missed our player. We still won. Maybe it's the strength of the squad. But if we lose 3 or 2, if we lost, our central midfield and our attack, we'd be like, fuck, So at the moment, for me, internationals need to be off till next year.
So I have a question from Michael. Michael says, he saw that Juventus were awarded a 3-0 win and Napoli deducted a point for failing to travel and play in Serie A.
Yeah, fair play.
Do you think these rules need to be brought into the EFL?
I think some transparency to the rules need to be brought in. My manager said it the other day. If he'd known that you could have called the game off at Accrington when we lost 4 of our squad, maybe he would have liked that choice, but he didn't know. It was only until Grimsby and then Crewe and you've called it, what was it called?
The COVID Classic.
Who's playing?
It's Leighton Orient against Grimsby this weekend.
The COVID Classic. I mean, that's fucking, my God. Even for you, that's harsh. So it's kind of like, what are the rules here? I'm kind of watching the NFL in America, and they're losing their shit. They're shutting down. They get a COVID positive, and they shut down the whole. Like, my Patriots didn't train for 2 weeks because they had like 3 or 4. There's like 100 people in those squads. So now they're shutting down everything. They're being a bit OTT over here. At the Premier League have got it right. They did the testing. If a player goes down with it, I don't like the fact that if you live with someone and they have it, you lose a player for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we've had a player like Dembele who's already had it. So say he was living with someone who got it, would he, even now he's got the antibodies, would he still have to do 2-week quarantine? That's a question I'd love to ask the scientists, but no one knows the fucking answer.
Or does he just test it, out?
But they don't test, but like the ones we had who were living with Dems when he got it, they tested and they were negative and they still had to quarantine longer than him. Wayne Rooney, because he met some guy selling him a watch and he's now got a negative test back, but he still has to miss Derby's next 3 games. All these countries with their 2-week quarantine is just such a load of fucking nonsense. So if you get 3 negative tests in 7 days, why would you get it the second week? I'm not quite understanding the science there, Phil. So I don't know. Maybe some more clarification from the so-called experts.
So I have a question that the questioner wished to remain anonymous. And that is...
Hope it's not an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. That's the model you were talking about in the show last week.
Stop. Which one?
How do you handle working with people in business and football who is a person you might not like?
Oh, God, yeah. That's... do you know what? And that's a great question. That's probably one of my favourite questions. I've always said this. I've employed loads of people I couldn't stand. But they were brilliant at their job, so it never bothered me. And probably lots of people work for me. Most people love me, actually, who work for me. But the reality is that you're never always going to like everyone you meet. And some people are going to be useful to you, useful for you, to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not a popularity contest, Phil. This is what people are missing the beat on about like politics nowadays. Everyone seems to hate each other because they have a different candidate.
It's all personality show, isn't it?
Yeah, but it at the end of the day, we can still break bread. And I said that, you don't have to love the person. Like, we've known each other a while. We're pals. We're not best pals. We don't go out for dinners. Do you know what I mean? But we can still break bread and we can disagree on lots of things, and we're very different people. It doesn't mean you dislike me or I dislike you. But in football, there are people I fucking despise. Like there are. And in League One, there's like, some of them as well. And they despise me. Like openly, I'll give you one there right now. Like the Gillingham owner. Yeah. He massively dislikes me. And I know that for a fact. I have no idea. I don't know, what I did to upset him so much. But I guess I create that reaction in some people. Yep. It's really, really funny. There's probably lots of people in football who don't like me. A lot of them have never met me. And then there are some people who enjoy my company. I don't lose any sleep over it. I couldn't give a fuck. That's their prerogative. I've always said this to you. Envy is okay. Jealousy is not. Envy is healthy. Healthy envy. Jealousy, that's like a poison pill. So don't worry about doing business with people you dislike. Don't worry about working with people you dislike.
Yeah.
As long as you do what you're meant to do and they do what they're meant to do, who cares?
Yeah, it's funny when you think about a changing room, in football, like so many personalities in there. Cole. Right.
I mean, they won a treble together, they won leagues together, they won a European Cup together. I believe they couldn't stand each other. Didn't matter. They were still teammates. Yeah. Look, we have a good squad. Are all the players like best pals? Probably not. But, when you work with 20, 30 people, you're not going to be best pals with every one of them.
There's always going to be some people, yeah.
And there are some people you're not going to like. So that's just life. You get on with it. And people nowadays, they're not thick-skinned enough. I've said this, there's like we spoke earlier about it, people are they love the virtual signaling. I want my kids to have a thicker skin as they get older. You know what I mean? And don't be so sensitive to everything. Mm-hmm. It's like people they're outraged and upset about fucking everything. Drives me mad. Call me a dinosaur. I hate that shit.
Well, let's move on to some business questions because we put out the call last week and we got a good number of questions.
Good.
The first one...
I'll start charging for this advice.
Yeah, right. We need to get it into that second pod behind the paywall.
Correct. People have to pay a subscription to listen.
So the first, it's kind of a set of questions from James Hammond.
Jesus.
And James Hammond, was saying he's starting his entrepreneurial career, 22.
Okay. Fair play.
Always been involved in football and interested in one day becoming a club owner.
Sure.
First question, what does it take financially and mentally to be a football club owner?
Well, you need to have balls of steel. Mm-hmm. So, anyone buying a football club, you're fucking mental, you're mad. But you got to have balls of steel because it's a tough industry, and it's you got to have deep pockets. You got to start with deep pockets, and then you'll have they won't be as deep. Mm-hmm. What was the first part of the question there?
Yeah, it was really financially and mentally, what does it take to be a football club?
Well, yeah, financially you need to have a lot of money. I was fortunate by 29 I could buy a football club, but you're talking in the millions. You need to be in a position. You're not going to buy a football club in the Football League for a couple of $100,000 in your bank account. Yeah. So, but you need to also have a plan. I always say I bought it as a hobby, but I still had a plan. Yeah. And you need to execute the plan. And as I've done with Peterborough and our recruitment over years, there's a plan that's been executed really well. If that plan hadn't been executed, I'd have been chased out. Mm-hmm. I'd have been the poorest guy in football. Do you know what I mean? So it's because I executed the plan really well. But listen, at 22, I love it. And James, you got to think big. What do I always say to you, Phil? Go big or go home. Yeah. And you got to think big. And there's absolutely no reason why James at 27, 28, 29, 30 buy a football club. Yeah. You got 7 years to go. Let me tell you, 22, 23, I didn't even own a car. I didn't own a house. But 29, I owned a football club. Mm-hmm. But 27, 28, I made the Sunday Times Rich List twice. Yeah. These are things that if you'd asked me at 22,
5 years,
as arrogant as I might have been, and I was pretty arrogant at times, and I probably would have said I'd make those things. But the reality would be I'd be sitting there thinking, Jesus, that's some bravado you're showing. But I've always been that guy, think big. Go big, go home, think big. And if you don't get out of bed every day and think, I'm going to reach for the stars, and I've always been that person. I've reached for the stars. For me, there was no glass ceiling. Mm-hmm. There was no roof to what I can do. And I say it to my kids all the time. You have to reach for the stars. And if you end up a little bit short of the stars, trust me, you'll have done fucking all right for yourself.
Now, was there anything that you were naive about? Well, I'm sure there's lots of things you're naive about coming into football club ownership at 29. But when you look back, anything that surprised you more than, was the one thing that really surprised you more than anything?
I worked in real estate, so there's no naivety. There's a pretty cutthroat industry, real estate. It's coming into football and dealing with agents and all that stuff going on. It's a people's person. It's a people's game. It's a people's industry. And I'm pretty good with people, hence why I could sell a lot of houses. So nothing shocked me or surprised me. I definitely wasn't too naive about it. Because I went in with my eyes wide open and I made sure I had some experts around me who, even though I felt I knew a lot about it, I could still lean on those people and their years of experience and wisdom. And it always amazes me the amount of owners that come in and they hire an agent to do their business for them and bring players to clubs and stuff. And I've said to my partners, they were lucky when they bought Peterborough with me. They had me still. Yeah. I was lucky I had Barry Fry, and whatever else. I had that experience I could lean on, and as I've learned.
Trust.
Yeah, it's really, really important. So, everything you go into that's new, you're going to be slightly naive about. But what you don't have is you don't have long to learn on the job. You got to take the training wheels off pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So you got to be ready for that. Because if you're still after a year, you got your training wheels on, you're pretty much getting fucked left, right, and centre. Yeah. My opinion.
Now James gets to a position where he's ready to take over a football club. Sure. How do you approach a football club about a takeover, like from a transactional perspective?
Knock on the front door.
Yeah.
Ring them. Ring a club. You see the headlines, a lot of clubs are for sale in the Football League. Ring them. Just say, I want to buy the club. I was fortunate. I was based in Spain, but I had friends who were contacts in the UK. and I got 2 of them to go around and talk to clubs, on my behalf. I didn't want to reveal who I was because I didn't want to show my hand, because then they always put the price up if they think you got a few more quid. So, but you know what? There's so many ways to get in. You will see clubs that are in trouble. You will see clubs in the press who need help. And if there are clubs for sale, there's usually a lawyer representing them that you can contact directly, as long as you have a proof of funds that you can buy the club.
Does every club have a price? Like, is every club for sale?
I think everyone has a price, Phil, even you. It's it's that old story, isn't it? We're all prostitutes, really deep down. Everyone has a price. Everyone has a payday in them. I would say very few clubs are not for sale. If you went to Man United tomorrow and offered 10 billion, they'd sell. So same with most clubs. So yes, you're right. Everyone's for sale.
How do you value a football club?
I knew my value in my club, and I got a seriously good valuation because I knew what our assets were worth, our players are worth, and I knew what my worth was and what we could do. It depends. You start looking at finance figures, and if you looked at the cash flow of most clubs and you looked at the P&L, most clubs you think are worth zero, when you look at it. But you got to look at the crowd size, the potential of the club. Let's say a Bradford.
Yeah.
How do you value a Bradford? Okay, they're on the roster in League 2. They haven't had a good couple of years, but then you start uncovering it and go, well, actually, that's a sleeping giant. So that's got some serious legs in it. It's got some serious potential. Say the owner wants 8 million and 9 million. Well, you go to the owner and you say, look, I ain't giving you 8 or 9. I'll give you 5 or 6. I'll give you a few million in add-ons if we get promoted, if we do this, if we do whatever.
So you're still vested in success.
You're still vested in success. We'll give you a little bit of a sell-on on every player we sell for the first 3 years. I might give you the 6 million over 2 years. There's always a deal to be done everywhere. I'm not, by the way, no disrespect to Bradford, I'm not saying that's the case, but there's always a deal to be done. And you don't have to go in and pay someone up front. The only time you pay someone all of it up front is if you're getting a bargain. So club wants 8 million. I walk in and go, there's 5. You can have it in your account tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm giving you the 8 million over 2 years or over 3 years. So a deal's a deal. I always feel I'm one of the best deal makers of what I do. So, and you always need a dance partner. In other words, the selling party,
they're going to be willing to sell.
They need to be engaged with you on that. So maybe you need to spend a bit of time with them. You need to do your due diligence. You need to have a bit of a rapport where I can go, look, Phil, I love your club. I love the figures, but I can't give you the 8 million tomorrow. But I can give you the 8 million over 3 years. Are you and Beth okay with that? Cash flow work for you? Tell you what I'll do, Phil. I'm going to give you 2% interest on that. So you're going to earn a bit more than 8 million, but you're going to take it over a bit longer.
Yeah. And so you're building up the trust with the other side so that they feel that you're still the right person, because it becomes an investment for them in you as well.
Correct.
Right. So I have a question. Let me see. This is from, I got my rattling paper here, of Mark Younger. So Mark asks, what tips, these questions are always kind of high level, I say, so we can drill a little bit into it. What tips does Darragh have for someone wanting to set up on their own? How much money do you need to set up a good website, pay for Google ads to get new customers, and more importantly, how do you approach it with your boss who wouldn't be happy? So let's start from the top of, is there an amount of money that you need to feel like, okay, that's what I need to set up to get going?
For a business?
Yeah.
It depends on the business, because, it could be a business where you got to buy stock. So for example, I invested in this e-scooter business. So I knew it was going to be 80 grand to set it all up. 20 grand of that was website, website. 30 grand of that was stock to have some inventory for when we start promoting and selling it. And the other 30 grand was left to marketing. So we need a marketing plan for like 6 months. And that 80 grand was set up in knowing that we wouldn't have any revenue probably for 3-4 months. And then as the revenue starts coming in, you can take a percentage of sales to dedicate to marketing. Because you're going to mess around with your marketing until you get what works. So again, I don't know what kind of business you're opening up. When I opened a real estate business, it cost me 5 grand. I needed a cheap office. It's me. I needed a car. I couldn't really do any marketing. I could do exhibitions, which cost me, my first 2 exhibitions cost me 2 grand. So I knew I had that. And if I did well at the exhibitions, I'd have client flow. If I got client flow, that would lead to deals. Then what I did for the first 2 years, every deal I did, I pretty much plowed 90% of the money back into the business to expand. So I still didn't own a home. I still didn't own a car. I rented a nice house. I rented a nice car. I looked like a really successful guy, but really I had fuck all assets. But what I was doing was expanding and building, and everything kept going back in because I knew what I was doing over 3-4 years. It would start paying off. And before I knew it, I had all these offices, I had all these clients, I had a brand, I had everything going really well. I had nothing in the bank, but I suddenly had a business that was like bang. So, but what I did was, and I would always say this to you when you start a business, yes, you got your own bills to pay, but try and live measly and try and invest as much as what you earn back in. If you really have a belief in your business and you can take it to the next level, keep investing in it till it gets bigger, bigger and bigger. Do you know what I mean? And eventually you get to a point where you're like, I can pay myself a bit more. I can hire some other people. You know, you will have, when you draw a business plan up, you will always have like milestones. All right, first year I want to hit 100 grand. Second year I've got to hit at least 200 grand. But, you know, more importantly, my client base needs to go from X to Y. So you got to create little milestones. You got to create targets for yourself. You notice this notepad I have here. If you look in my business drawer, you'll probably see 20. And every page on my notepad, at the top of the page, Phil, you can show people, what does it have at the top of the page?
Date.
A date.
Yeah.
So every day when I'm doing my business, no matter what I'm doing, my email at my desk, I have a date. And the reason I have that is so I can refer back to stuff. So if I talk to you in 2 weeks' time, I'll say, well, on October the 16th, we agreed this and we did this. So I always take notes. It's just something I've always done. I've always had a really good memory. As you get older, it's not as good. So I always used to have a photographic memory. But I note everything. I keep everything noted and jotted. Anything that goes wrong, I can refer back to my notes. Now with tech nowadays, I use Dropbox. I keep everything in Dropbox so I can refer back to anything, you know. So anyone out there looking to start their own business, I can't give you a figure on what you need because I don't know the business. If you gave me an idea what your business was, if you want to open up a car garage, I'd probably hazard a guess and say probably 200 grand, 100 grand in stock, 100 grand on a beautiful, you know, garage that you're going to have to open and hire staff for 6 months. Any business you do, make sure you got 6 months running money. Where you're not going to make any money for 6 months, so that by month 7, you know you got 5 grand a month in bills to find, but you got 6 months build up to get there. So always have that. I knew that when I started real estate, I pretty much had 90 days before I was bust. So it was like shit or bust for me very quickly.
Yeah, you know, that patience thing, you know, you talked about time. I think patience is really important, especially when you're stepping out from the corporate side, which is, you know, what I ended up doing, because it typically takes a lot longer for you to actually build that up than maybe what you think when you go in at the start. Even if you've been successful on the corporate side, you know, don't be surprised.
Applying that then when you go out on your own, not so easy. Yeah, it takes time.
What's really interesting is how you earn a certain amount of money on the corporate side. And you think, you know, I'm getting paid that, I must have that value, blah, blah, blah. It comes pretty easy to you. Sure. You step into the business side and you're like...
You're on your own.
It takes you 10 times longer to get a fraction of that, but you got to start building. And then over time, that's, you know, like you said, it might have taken you 2 or 3 years to get to a point where you actually could start investing in owning things yourself. But by year 7, you're in a completely different place.
Mega. So I'm making rich list by then. Do you know what I mean? But in the meantime, I'm putting it all on the line. And don't ever forget that when you work for yourself, sometimes you have to put it all on the line. I had that attitude when I was building my business. It was all or nothing. There was no compromise. It was all in or it was fucking nothing. And the other thing I'd always say to you is when you open a business, and even you right now, Phil, when I used to go to bed at night, I dreamt all the time big. I dreamt about how many new suits I could buy. They were going to be tailor-made. I dreamt about the first car I was going to buy. It was going to be a convertible. I dreamt about the first holiday I was going to have. It was going to be a 50 grand holiday. I dreamt every night. So I woke up every morning off the back of those positive dreams that I was going to get out of bed and I was going to go to work and I was going to get one step closer to each of those things. And that's massive for me. Your mindset is so important. As well as your work ethic, your mindset has to be right. Because if your mindset's not right, you'll fail. Yeah,
you got to get through the tough times, and it's a lonely place.
Dig deep. Dig deep. We say it all the time in soccer and sports. You know, you're 1-0 down, you're against the cosh, dig deep. Same when you own a business or you run. And I have the ultimate respect for you, as so many other people who leave the employed world, go out on their own, because I am that guy. I'm that maverick. I would always say to my kids, go work for yourself. You know, I was sick of taking orders from other people. I'm not that guy that takes orders. So I want to be the guy giving orders. So I have love, respect, admiration for anyone who leaves the safe corporate world and goes, you know what, I'm going to give this a go myself. I love that. And that is the ballsiest move anyone can make. Whether it works or not, you had the balls to do it. Millions don't.
You know, it takes you, for my circumstances, it took me a long time to tell myself there's never the right time to do it.
But you got there.
Because you always look at it from a risk perspective and think, you know what, maybe a couple more years, maybe I need to be here, maybe I need to get that experience. And then you realize that, what am I doing? Because there's never going to be the right time to do it. And you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. So go and do it.
I was lucky. I got fired. So I was like, I can't put up with this shit anymore. You know, like listening to and I was really good at my job. I didn't get fired for being poor at my job. I got fired for like fucking, you know,
showing other people up.
Yeah, correct. And there's a lot of jealousy and animosity. And I banged someone who worked at the office, and you know what I mean? And like the people in power didn't like that, you know, because I was like 22, 23, fucking dumb, young, dumb and full of cum. So, and probably of myself. So at that point I was like, I can't put up with this anymore. I got to work for myself here. That's the only way. And my dad always said, and this is the laugh, when I said to him, I'm going to work for myself, he says, don't even try it. You're far too lazy to do that. He always denies that now. And my dad's one of my best inspirations. But he said to me at the time, whether it was like, what was that word again? He's like playing mind games with me. He was like, you're too lazy. You can never work for yourself. And it's kind of like, for me, love, respect, admiration for you, for people who go out on their own. Because there are those who follow and those who lead. And it's okay to want to work for other people. And it's okay to get rich, make a life for yourself working for companies. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't judge you for doing that. But I do have a bit more respect for those who actually go out there and put their balls on the line.
All right. Well, last question from Alex is just really about your book. So he says he's probably late to the party reading the first book that you wrote. What?
Bestseller.
8 years ago now.
What's the bestseller?
Bestseller in
You're laughing.
Peterborough W.H. Smiths.
No, asshole. Fuck you. I sold 30,000 copies of that.
That's good going.
Let me tell you, I think Paul Scholes sold 20,000 of his autobiography. So, it's a sports book.
So when's the follow? The question basically is, when's the follow-up?
Well, there's not going to be a sports one for a while, but I've spoken about doing 2 business books for a while. One is based on my real estate career, and that would be called King of Real Estate. Mm-hmm. And then the other book off of that would be, people have asked me this all the time to do it, would be like a sales manual type. Yeah. I've never been into self-help books, but people say, look, we want to hear how you did it and did it. The real estate book will be about my 10 years in international real estate, and that would make people's heads spin, the stories. Mm-hmm. And I will get that written. I've laid out the chapters. I've got all the stories in my mind of things that happened over the years. And then the sales help book, I don't know, I'll get there. Maybe you can help me with that. We'll do the podcast, and you can get the transcripts, and you can turn that into There you go, turn
book.
it into a manual book. Yeah, exactly. But thank you for that question, you know what I mean? But listen, that was a bestseller. So don't you fucking laugh about that. 30,000 copies.
I'm also talking to a best-selling author. I'll add that to the list.
But I am. You might fucking laugh. It's on Wikipedia. Not that I believe anything on Wikipedia.
I thought you've sold more books than I have, so I will give you. There you go.
Hey, and I didn't even really try.
Yeah.
30,000 copies. I guarantee you, if I released that same book today, years later now, on my social media blueprint or footprint, which is a lot more than it was back then, I'd probably sell 100,000 copies of that book.
You still get sales now, 8 years later?
I don't know. I maybe. I think the club still sells them.
Yeah.
I know it's on Amazon. Maybe I need to do an updated, refresh version. Do you know what I mean? And sell a digital version online or something. I don't know even who gets the money. But it was my media company at the time. So who knows? I've never really bothered looking.
Amazon probably gets most of it.
Probably right.
All right. Well, that's it for this week.
Brilliant.
Again, thank you everybody for joining us. And,
absolute pleasure.
You got a question? Pop it in our DMs on Twitter, email it to us, just going on to the contact form at hardtruthfootball.com/contact. I get a number of the questions in that way. The more questions, the merrier.
Absolutely. Great hearing from you all. Always nice to get some questions, and really enjoyed today's episode. Yeah. Everyone have a great week out there.
Yeah, we'll be back again next week.
Take care.